welcome. If you don't already know, I'm Ashley, and I am here to do a pick a pile ancestral message for 2022. Pile 1 will be the green calcite. Each pile will come with a tarot card, a goddess guidance oracle card, a self-care card, and an animal oracle card. And I will get into a moment into the messages that will be coming through from each. So again, green calcite is pile 1. Pile 2 is the peacock ore. And pile 3 will be the clear quartz. So again, pile 1, green calcite. Pile 2, peacock ore. Pile 3, clear quartz. So whatever you feel most drawn to, the energies of the stones, crystals, of course you can pick more than one. Light some herbs. So for this reading, we're going to talk about the general theme of inherited trauma that may be following you into 2022. We'll discuss your inherited gifts, any messages coming through from your ancestors, a self-care that they believe would be beneficial for you, and then finally an animal oracle for messages to look out for coming from your ancestors from a particular animal. So pile 1, green calcite. The tarot card, and the tarot card will represent the theme of inherited trauma and also the inherited gift that pile 1, the green calcite, got was justice. I also want to note and point out the owl as a possible animal that you may be seeing. And when I talk about animals, it can be the actual animal or it can be the image. If you're not in an area where these animals live, then it is quite possible that they are coming through to you in other ways. Pieces of art, stuffed animals, music, videos, television, books, any other medium. It also doesn't have to just be the image. It can be the word of the animal, the essence of the animal. Although we are not to the animal oracle, I do feel that group 1, green calcite, your ancestors may be trying to reach you, coming through to you through the owl. And what I see here for green calcite group 1, as far as themes of inherited trauma with justice, could be strongly from a particular lineage. It could be mother's mother, mother's father, father's mother, father's father. I'll get into detail about some of the clues that might let us know which lineage, ancestral lineage it's coming through, or maybe you have some insight. Maybe already in seeing this card or the image of the owl, you are feeling a deep connection and have an inner knowing of which lineage is trying to reach out to you. If you have done any inherited trauma resolution work around a specific lineage, that door may be open for communication a little bit stronger than other lineages. So the Justice card in the tarot is represented by Libra. So I am feeling a strong Libra coming through. So if you have birth dates or any birth information, you can look to that possibly to see if anyone has any strong Libra in their chart. If not, if you don't have that, that's okay too. You can just trust, if it feels resonant to you, that it is a strong Libra energy coming through. So as far as inherited trauma goes, when you receive justice in the tarot, it could be generations, lifetimes before of your ancestors who had to fight tirelessly to receive justice. Okay, there may be a lineage of trauma around not receiving justice, and you may have come into this lifetime and maybe carrying into the year 2022 pieces around receiving justice. Okay, I'm hearing and feeling anger around the lack of justice, maybe not just for yourself and something that's been carried on through the lineage, but also related to the world. Okay, it could be something that has been passed down. It could also be just a very strong intuitive sense and knowing of what's right and what's wrong that has kind of, you know, there are some good aspects to this, which we'll get to, but since we're speaking to the inherited trauma, that almost take you away from yourself, take you away from your life, because you're so deep in the throes of needing and wanting and fighting for justice for a particular group, maybe for anybody you see. Really feeling like this bleeding heart syndrome. And what does that mean? You know, everywhere you go, everything you see, everything you touch, you can't help but see the injustice and want things to be fair and balanced, which is a beautiful quality, right? It's a wonderful quality. We need people like this in the world. Maybe you've been called to law. Maybe you've been called to humanitarian efforts, or that's something that's strong in your lineage. There's just something about this group that I'm feeling that when you see something is wrong, when you see injustice, you have such a strong desire to bring things back to equal balance, right? And when this energy is used correctly, when it is put in the right direction, it can be beautiful and wonderful. Like if you become a human rights lawyer or study that, or begin a nonprofit to help out a group that you see that has been taken advantage of, and really feeling and hearing a lot of heaviness around this idea of being taken advantage of. So again, something possible in your lineage that existed that never was healed. Maybe you know the story. Maybe it would take some research or digging. Maybe you'll never know. But typically, even when we don't have a story to go with it, we can feel this heaviness and this deep nagging desire for fairness, for balance, and for equality. And, you know, talking about an inherited gift, one of your possible inherited gifts is bringing that seeking of justice and fairness and balance and equality to everywhere you go, in every walk of life. because you have experienced this, because it is an inherited trauma in your lineage that maybe you have an idea of the specifics or maybe you don't, you have a strong, deep desire, again, for fairness. You bring that wherever you go, and those around you can feel that and know that when they are with you, that is what you provide, and that you won't be taking advantage of them. I hear that this is a great strength for the green calcite group ones, okay, that you can carry into your business. Like, for example, if you're a coach and you work with clients, or really any career, because of the way you present yourself, because you stand so firmly on the side of justice and balance and fairness and equality, they choose you. They go to you because you provide such a safety net for that. People can read this, feel this energetically from you, and they know that you are a safe person to go to. So when it comes to healing this inherited trauma and utilizing it for your benefit, really tapping into even that anger, I'm hearing even the anger that you hold and that you carry, right? And rightfully so, validating that for you, and just really becoming aware of when it is being put to good use and when it is not. Arguing with people online, right, or social media, arguing with people in real life about what is fair and what is right is maybe not the best use of this inherited gift. But like I said, starting a nonprofit organization, reaching out to people and just letting them know that you see the truth, right? You see what's really going on. Lots of truth-seeking energy for this pile and this group. And yeah, really hearing that it is about you balancing how this is used and being mindful and aware of when it is draining you and when it is serving you, and when your journey, when you are seeking justice and balance and fairness and equality, when that is helping other people, benefiting other people. Really sinking into knowing the difference, checking in with yourself, I'm hearing too. This is a major arcana card, so much more on the mental plane. And maybe that's part of the issue for you, is it kind of, the fight stays all up here, right? And you're being asked to energetically bring it elsewhere, because you can drive yourself crazy if you're just thinking and ruminating and really isolating yourself over the thoughts and ideas of what is so unfair and what is so unjust in the world. How can you put this desire to bring equilibrium, to bring balance and fairness and justice back to the people who need it, right? And there are so many. So really finding an avenue where to direct this energy, and mentally checking in with yourself every so often. You know, is this thing that I'm doing to fight for justice, is it practical? Is it actually helping people? Is my energy going in the right direction? Okay? Because it is such a powerful, good thing, you know, without people, without the truth seekers, right? Pile one, you are a pile of truth seekers. You know, without the truth seekers, without the people fighting for these things, you know, what would be brought to balance? Where would the justice come from if no one pointed their finger and said, hey, this is wrong? Okay, so really just, again, checking in with yourself about where this is being directed and the best use of this energy, because the inherited trauma, you know, isolating and getting really bogged down from it is like almost constantly being at battle with what is unjust, but never moving forward, never making change. And that can crush us mentally, to live in the despair and the isolation of knowing that there are unjust things in the world and not being able to do anything about them. Okay, so I'm really hearing like diving into studying history, law, speaking your truth, whether it's that's, you know, starting a blog, writing a blog on something that you see as unjust and unfair in the world. And that kind of leads me into your next card, Sarasvati, the arts. So the message from your ancestors about how to transmute and transform maybe possibly some of the anger that has come up with this legacy of feeling like things are unjust, feeling like things are never fair and balanced for you, for your loved ones. Maybe there's this heavy feeling of, you know, this particular lineage never getting what they earn and what they deserve. And that is so many people. So many of our ancestors have had their land taken from them, their rights taken from them, their food, their family. Okay, so it can be a heavy thing to carry on as it's not healed into the next generation, right? So really diving into, and there's another bird here. Water, I'm also hearing, can be very healing for this group. Listening to bird song, I think, can be very beneficial for this group. Playing music may be something that is very healing for group one as well, to get clarity and to move out of this constant state of feeling like it's your job to bring balance back to things. Nature helps us naturally bring balance back. There's also this idea here, I feel, of keeping one foot not necessarily on the ground. She has one foot in water, but to me this represents keeping realistic and keeping balanced about, again, not isolating so much in this need to find justice for everybody in the world, right? Because that is quite impossible. And honing your efforts into maybe one more specific thing. Again, I'm really feeling here, you know, now with both of these cards, as Sarasvati also represents creative writing. So like I said, writing a blog about the fairness and injustice, writing a book, making a song about it, creating art that represents how you feel about the injustice in society for a particular group, maybe for your culture, maybe the culture of this specific lineage. I do feel like this pile has a strong feminine energy, so father's mother's lineage, mother's mother's lineage, if that resonates. And, you know, the arts is a very Venus-ruled endeavor, okay? Which Libra is ruled by Venus, so I am, again, like getting a lot of Venusian energy, a lot of female, feminine energy, and the message clear from this pile's ancestors that creating something with this anger, creating something from this passion about justice, and putting it out into the world. It doesn't have to be on a grand scale, but putting that out in the world can be very beneficial for this group. Yeah, looking for that white swan symbolism again, and the owl. I'm really hearing, you know, listening to bird song, putting yourself in a space of nature where there is a lot of bird song and sounds. I'm also hearing that that is likely a way that your ancestors are trying to contact you and connect you, is through birds, owls, swans, white swans, maybe particularly singing to you. So when you notice a bird around or coming around, especially when you're having a specific thought or idea or worry, right? And the self-care that your ancestors are asking of you is to look to the stars. So this self-care card in particular, if you are feeling resonant, pile 1 green calcite, to study astrology or dive more into astrology, or to understand more about the cycles of the moon, of the sky, the sun, and the star. Maybe just starting by learning your excuse me, sun, moon, and rising. I'm also hearing North Node, South Node, which is one of my favorite pieces of astrology that can help us understand past lives, past karma, and current lifetime destiny. South Node being the past, North Node being the present. Not to say that we have to deny all of our South Node experiences, not at all, but we really want to try to master wherever the North Node is, in order to balance. And that's a very interesting thing about astrology, and the fact that pile 1 received this card is that astrology is all about balance. It's all about seeking balance, especially those of us who happen to have natal birth charts that are very heavy water energy or very heavy earth energy. In this lifetime, we're really being asked to embody what we lack. Okay, so I feel that for pile 1, your ancestors are asking you to possibly study astrology, maybe just read your horoscope daily, or it could also be just spending time with the stars, with the night sky, attuning to the moon, going out every once in a while, and placing yourself under the moon, taking a deep breath, looking to it for calm, balance, and attunement. So the animal oracle card that pile 1 green calcite received is salmon, determination. You know where you are going, and you will get there. So again, going back to this idea of water for this group, I also think that a possible animal that your ancestors, that this lineage is coming through, maybe through fish, and again, maybe felt more when you're near a body of water, maybe getting yourself out to a body of water, And we do have the Libra energy here, which is an air sign. Really interesting, you know, birds and air. But I'm also feeling heavy water energy for this pile. So Pisces, Scorpio, Cancers, possibly either you or in your lineage. And the message coming through with this card for this specific pile of this lineage for this pile is to really keep going, keep fighting against the currents. I'm feeling a deep exhaustion for this group, for group 1. Maybe that has to do with the inherited trauma of constantly seeking justice, constantly in the fight for it, and really you are being asked to transmute that into the arts. And again, this doesn't even have to be transmuting that into the arts. Maybe you're just bringing in the arts as a total and complete divergence and opposite from excuse me, this fight, this struggle, this journey. Take your breaks, sing, dance, play, keep one foot grounded in the reality that you can step away from this and come back to this. And in all honesty, you know, that's how we're able to do the hard things in life, is to find balance. And you may be able to do that through studying your astrological chart. If you've been called to study astrology, this is a sign to yes, you know, whether or not that, if you're able to afford a class, or, you know, often we think about we have to dive into all these workshops and courses and classes. You can study it on your own, you know, get books from the library. If you would like some astrology book recommendations, you can leave a comment below asking, and I would be happy to share some. Liz Green is probably my favorite as far as, you know, beginning in astrology and really understanding the basics. And she's really great about weaving in Greek mythology with it as represented by the planets. So again, very strong feminine energy here. Theme of inherited trauma, really getting lost and isolated and stuck in justice seeking without having really like an outlet for it, okay? Taking breaks, maybe using your the things that you create, using the arts as an avenue for bringing justice through to the world. Possibly studying astrology, looking to the stars for balance. Again, always seeking that balance. Okay, just make sure that you're seeking balance within yourself. Balance out this need to truth seek and truth tell and find justice with caring for yourself, nourishing yourself, finding joy. And if this, you know, truth-seeking, justice-seeking journey has felt like a struggle for you, you know, of course, again, take those breaks, dive into the arts, but the clear message that is coming through also from your ancestors, from a particular lineage, possibly that is feminine in nature, is it is possible to get there. And once you can take the time needed to balance, to come back into balance with yourself, and express yourself through creative activities, you know, you will get to where it is you need to go. And oftentimes we have to swim against the current to get over to the other side where the justice is, where the balance is, where the healing is. So if this resonated for you, pile 1 green calcite, I would love if you liked and commented below. Now we're going to move on to pile 2. This is the peacock ore, pile 2. Peacock ore. And the theme of inherited trauma tarot card that you received was the 5 of Pentacles. 5 of Pentacles, well, when we're talking about 5, that can oftentimes represent instability. Pentacles usually represents our career, our finances, our material things. And 5 of Pentacles, as far as inherited trauma goes, I'm really getting this feeling deeply from this pile, is lack mentality, right? It could be a generational issue of yours, an inherited trauma, poverty, okay? It could be actual poverty or the fear of poverty. Many of us have this in our bones from ancestors who lived through the Depression, right? And weren't sure that there would ever be enough. There could be some sense of like hoarding mentality with this group. Maybe you do have enough. Maybe your finances are in order, but there's this lingering, nagging mentality of lack, or that there will never be enough, that you don't have enough, that you're not safe enough. Okay? Or it can manifest as imbalanced finances, right? Financial insecurity, moving from one job to the next, seeking balance, seeking security, but in reality it causes more instability and insecurity for you. Really feeling this coming through. At the moment it feels like a masculine energy. I'll have to look more into it with the rest of the cards. But whichever one you resonate with, you know, most, I do feel like this group is split into 2 of people who have the lack mentality and don't realize that the fortune is there, the finances are there, the security is there. It's just the inherited trauma runs so deep that it's more of a mentality. It's more of a thought process that needs to be worked through affirmation, you know, through reading a money book or a money course, or cutting cords, I'm hearing, and cutting ties to that lack mentality that exists and runs through your lineage. I'm feeling a little bit of both now, both the masculine and feminine. So again, mother's lineage, mother's father's lineage, father's mother's lineage, or father's father's lineage. Of course, there may be other clues and symbols and signs that come up in the rest of the reading that help clarify that for you. And if something does resonate, I would love if you would let me know in a comment below. As far as inherited gifts go, I really see that this can manifest for some of you as, you know, maybe your frugalness. Not maybe. There is a what's the saying? There is some truth, there is some, I can't think of the saying. You know, what's it, like madness there's a mystery to the madness. No, there's a meaning for the madness. So maybe some things that we see as bad or wrong, like being frugal. I feel like in this lineage there are some, and there are in reality some real benefits to being frugal. And I almost don't even like the word frugal, but feeling energy that, there is deep down some good qualities to this group and in this particular lineage that lend you some talent with money. Maybe this lineage knows how to haggle well. Maybe they do know how to work well with finances. And if this isn't resonating, it could be that this lack mentality, the inherited trauma of the lack mentality is just so strong and taking over. But I'm hearing that once that can be moved past, once that can be worked through, not that it's going to be this overnight one thing, but that there is a lot of talent to be found around resources, around utilizing your resources, around saving, around bartering. Also hearing that that is a big inherited gift. Trading, bartering, working for work trades, working for a place to live, trading foods, really seeing this group in like some sort of like outdoor market system, farmers markets, really a lot of, I'm hearing like in collecting things too. Again, Pentacles is coins, it's the material things that we have and we hold. So possible talent or hobby, for collecting coins, collecting gold, collecting things, trading, again, bartering. I'm really hearing like, going back to this old way of life that maybe some of us are attuned to these days. It's less likely that we are in 2022 because we have moved so much toward quick and easy things, but way back for many of our ancestors and once upon a time, there was no money, right? We traded what goods we had. We traded the things that we were talented at. Excuse me. If one family down the way had fruit and your family had meat, you could trade for those things. You weren't expected to be good at everything or to have everything, because we had these relationships with people, with community, where we could barter and trade and get things that way. So there's this idea with this group and this lineage that you don't realize it or you don't remember. You might not have that deep inner knowing, or maybe you do. Maybe you are being called back to it, or maybe it was how you were raised, and what a blessing. But that there's this idea with this group that, I'm feeling this very light energy of that money doesn't exist, right? It's just an idea and it doesn't have to exist, and we can get everything that we need without it, and we already embody and have everything we need. It's really about tapping back into that inner knowing. I'm hearing, possible, if it feels resonant for this group, to research what it is that they're maybe one specific lineage that you're feeling called to, or all, if you're not called to a particular one, to see what it is your ancestors did for work. Did they farm? Did they trade? Did they barter? Were they bankers? Were they steel workers? Were they shoemakers? And to get insight, not that you have to, you find out that they were shoemakers and you get into that industry. But I'm hearing that by doing some of this research, by looking back into it, some of you will feel rejuvenated, you know, alive again, and you will have that deep inner remembrance or knowing that there is no lack, right? We can never lack when we carry so much that is inherited and within us, and the resources and the skills and talents of the generations that came before us. And again, really feeling that skill and talent coming through from this group, the second group, the Peacock Ore, is bartering, growing, leaning back on the resources that you already naturally have. You know, maybe there's water on, you know, land that you own, and somehow you could trade, you could help someone who has land down the way to grow things with that water, right? Maybe you have a talent for jewelry making, and someone in your community or your friend or online community has the market for that, and you can come together with them. So the Goddess Guidance Oracle that the Peacock Ore group number 2, received was Bridget. Don't back down. Stand up for what you believe is right. So now that I have this card, I'm feeling a little more feminine energy coming through. Brigitte is actually the counterpart of Archangel Michael. Okay. A Celtic goddess that also represents fertility. I'm feeling with this, you know, sometimes there's that general tendency when we have lack mentality and when we're really deep in it and it's at its worst, we feel undeserving. We feel like we don't have the right that everybody else does to the world, to stand up for what we believe in, to stand up for what we know is true. We get this insight or this intel that is wrong, that we are not strong, we are not able to be strong, we are not able to make choices or decisions because we don't have the finances to back it up, right? That the little people don't get to make choices. I think that we see that often when, you know, you watch shows that have monarchies, right? Hierarchies where the people are just lowly townspeople, and there is no power, there is no strength when you lack finances. And I'm hearing like this very loud, strong message coming through for this pile, from this ancestry, from this lineage, that just because you may not be yet where you want to be, it doesn't mean that you are wrong about what you believe and about what you think. You don't have to change your direction or change what you believe or think to be right. It's good to be open-minded and to be adaptable, but you don't have to change who you are and what it is you truly believe in order to fit in, but also in order to be deserving of good things, of abundance, right? Brigitte also is the Celtic goddess that is celebrated on Celtic holiday Imbolc, which represents the start of spring. A couple of Imbolc springs ago, I crafted one of these that I have up over my door. It's a cross that is made to protect from fire. And I'm also really hearing that you can create something similar. Maybe you can celebrate Brigitte on Imbolc, which is in spring, to reignite that fire. I'm hearing for this pile, like, you haven't had New Year's yet. Your New Year's is in spring, if that makes sense. So any spring rising signs like Aries, Taurus, Gemini. So looking to spring as being like that time of year that really ignites your soul. And it's okay if in the first months of 2022 you're still working on coming out of this lack mentality. I'm almost getting like a hermit feel to this as well. That's okay. By spring, I'm seeing and feeling like it can be very beneficial. Feeling that spring might really be the time when you come back to life. And maybe this pile here might really benefit from celebrating Imbolc this year, celebrating the start of spring, planting some seeds for the future, possible career, financial steps that you've been wanting to take, small ones. And the self-care for pile 2, dream journal. Are you sleeping? So really getting the clear energy coming through, like that your ancestors are trying to connect to you, trying to send messages to you through your dreams. So something as simple as just writing down the symbolism in some dreams. If you don't remember your dreams, having a quiet moment before you go to sleep and asking your ancestors to help you remember your dreams can be really helpful and beneficial. Collecting like writing down any themes, can like reoccurring things that pop up from dreams. I'm also hearing like if you don't remember your dreams, just in those quiet moments of downtime, daydreams count too. But really, your ancestors are wanting you to pay attention to these visions, to these daydreams, to these night dreams, and to look for themes, because they're trying to connect to you, they're trying to reach you, they're trying to say something to you through these dreams, right? Through the time in which we are brought up out of the body's natural chakras and into more of a spiritual plane, where we're astral traveling and doing all different fun things. So getting a specific journal might be really beneficial for this. Maybe just a piece of paper and a pencil, pen by your bed, whatever feels good, whatever feels doable and easy for you to do. And even if you just think it's really weird, like I had a dream the other night where I was the masseuse of a semi-famous person. Doesn't really make sense to me, but since I picked this pile, I picked 2 piles, but I picked this pile, maybe I should be making note of that. Okay, so that one, really excitedly coming through. Like, we're trying to talk to you, we're trying to reach you. Also, like, I'm seeing for this group shapes, crosses. The last one was a lot more animal heavy. Stars. And again, I'm not really sure what shapes those are, but I'm seeing that the imagery coming through for this group might really be focused on shapes. And the animal oracle coming through, you may be seeing images. Of course, if you don't have real life elephants around you, this can be stuffed elephants. I have a watering can that is an elephant, right? And the elephant represents resolve. You will overcome any obstacles. So really going back to this heavy legacy of lack mentality, maybe financial loss that this lineage has experienced, you yourself has experienced. And again, I'm really hearing that this is a theme of inherited trauma for you, if that resonates. Pile 2, that you will overcome this in this lifetime. This isn't something that has to be struggled through and passed down to the next generation, if there are any generations. Of course, if you don't plan on having a next generation, then, you know, working to make things better for yourself is just as important as working to clear things up and clear the energy for the next generation. Maybe you believe in reincarnation, so clearing that energy for your next lifetime. And I just feel like seeing the, you know, massive image and knowing how heavy an elephant is signifies to me how heavy maybe this has felt for you, for this group and this pile. And your ancestors, maybe from a specific lineage, I don't know, you can comment below and let me know, really want you to know that the obstacles set in front of you, whether they be career, financial, which they may likely be with this pile, they don't want you to back down, right? They want you to keep going. They want you to know that you have every right to be as financially abundant as anybody else, as any other family, as any other person. And that not only are you deserving of it, you are protected. They are protecting you. This is, you know, the elephant leans more on feminine energy. So with this group, I am feeling like it's a mother's lineage or mother's lineage, if that resonates. And the elephant is really representative of family protection. So this group in this pile really coming through strongly that you are protected and guided by your ancestors, and particularly this lineage, whichever is standing out for you. Looking for symbolism, shapes, and also paying attention to your dreams as your ancestors are trying to connect you through your dreams. Maybe you had a dream about an elephant, or you will. Okay? I'm feeling that that is pretty final for group number 2. That was the peacock ore. So like and comment below. I would love, love, love if you want to share any resonance that you had, group 2. Okay? Moving on to group 3. The clear quartz. I don't know if you could see, it has a little bit of brown floating in it. I don't know if that helps. My little background probably doesn't. So just taking the energies from this group 3. So for a theme of inherited trauma and also inherited gifts, group 3, you got the King of Swords. Swords is connected with the air signs, Gemini, Aquarius, and Libra. And just taking that image in, also hearing that this group may be receiving messages and may see and hear black crows. Excuse me. And when we talk about the suit of swords, we're talking about mental capacity, thoughts, communication with others. So just taking that in. And I'm really getting here as far as it was kind of okay. Oh, I want to start with the inherited trauma as before inherited gifts. No, let's start with inherited gifts. So King of Swords, as you can see, both hands firmly onto the sword. You could say he looks angry. I would almost say like determined, committed, unwavering, right? You can't move that sword. You try to wiggle it and he's got his hands securely on that, right? Strong mental strength, strong mental capacity, and again, that commitment to a goal, that unwavering spirit, and confidence in their clear communication, where we can look to themes of inherited trauma can be when this is like, I guess you could say King of Swords reversed, or the dark side of King of Swords, which is too all-knowing, too rigid, too stuck in how they think things should be. And sometimes this can happen with an air sign, particularly like very heavy Geminis, that they're always right. And there may be like heavy Gemini. I'm feeling like Gemini energy with this. I'm also feeling masculine or masculine energy. So father's lineage, mother's father's lineage. Being too rigid, being too all-knowing, thinking you're always right, okay? Not allowing other people, not properly communicating, maybe always talking over them, maybe always thinking that your way or your thoughts is the best, not having that clear, open door for communication, only looking out for number one, okay? But as far as inherited gifts go, you know, on the positive side of the King of Swords, when we have balance, when we're aware of ourselves and how we can slip. My North Node is in Gemini, so I try to be mindful of this. We are more aware of how we are can manipulate. You know, the dark side of the inherited trauma of the King of Swords is trying to sway people to your way of thinking, to your way of life, to what you think is best. And when this is positive and cleared up of any negative energy, when it's at its best, the King of Swords really takes everybody into consideration, listens to everybody, is unwavering in what they believe, unless they learn a new piece of information. I feel like the Black Crow or Raven, I'll say both just in case one or the other resonates for you. But just feeling like they are there, it is there as a reminder to check in with self and make sure that your swaying isn't manipulative, right? There are people who want to hear your message and who need to hear your message, but they don't need to be pushed or swayed. when it comes from a clear, good place with clear, good intentions. Your communication is needed. And finding that balance and taking that reminder of the black crow or the black raven to check in, again, a bird with air signs, birds are in the air, to make sure that that the manipulation isn't taking over. And what is, you know, the manipulation at its core is just your desire to join a group, to be within a group, within a people, a soul family, a group of friends, a community that has the same, thinks the same as you. And what I'm getting from this is that, you know, this is a theme of inherited trauma from your group, from your lineage, maybe a particular lineage, again, possibly a masculine, a mother's father, a father's father, that in order to find your group, you need to be, you know, shouting your opinion from the rooftops. But what the bird is here to try to tell you sweetly in your ear is that you don't need to. When you share your message, when you communicate your message with a clear, calm confidence, is when you are able to find and embrace and live within your right community, your soul family. Okay? You don't have to be rigid when you go about seeking it. And when you are in good balance, good energy, as the King of Swords, you're not just looking out for number one, holding rigidly onto what you have, which is, you know, the sword is the mental capacity, the thoughts, the ideas, the communication. When you're in right balance as a king, you're so confident in yourself that you know, the most confident, well-balanced people know that other people have things to share with them and offer them and teach them, right? This, you know, the reversed or the inherited trauma of this, or the negative side of this, is that you're only the teacher and no one has anything to teach you, and you're never the student. And that's not true. We waver in and out of being student and teacher. But it doesn't mean that when we are the student in a moment that everything falters and fades. You still stand firm in your knowing and your truth while being open and adaptable to new information. If that makes sense, if this resonates, I would love if you commented below and let me know. So that's really what's coming through for the King of Swords as far as inherited trauma and inherited gifts. And, you know, one of your inherited gifts, when you can stay open and adaptable, when you can be the student as easily as you can be the teacher, is that your soul family, your community will appear. They will be there. They will know that they're respected by you and not being manipulated by you, right? People are drawn to your message, to your truth, to your ideas, because you aren't so rigid about them. You're not forcing them on anybody. You allow the bird to teach you, to bring you messages too. So that's what's coming through for group 3. And your goddess oracle card is Guinevere, true love. The romantic stirrings in your heart have propelled the universe to deliver great love to you. So going back to that like-minded folk, that like-minded community, I really see 2022 for group 3 as the year that possible soulmate enters. And again, this can be friendship-wise soulmate. If it resonates and you're looking for someone who believes what you believe, in a lover, in someone to join and make a family with, I see that 2022 could be the year that someone comes in to your life and you are feeling like you finally are connected to a community, to a soul family. Trying to see if there's anything else that I'm feeling that's coming through from Guinevere. Also, yeah, leaning into love. Going back to that idea of opening yourself up to love, looking at communicating with others through the lens of love and letting go of this rigidness, right? We don't always see the king as a character of love, but when he is at his best, the king can see everything through the eyes of love, right? He can be open and adaptable to love, to other people teaching you something. Also with Guinevere, there can be this idea, if you already are in a romantic relationship, but you've been feeling like it hasn't been exciting, that 2022 can bring a renewed energy, or it can signify that your romantic needs aren't being met, and you likely need to communicate what it is you need in the way of love, to feel like you're getting what you want and need from this relationship. Yeah, so Guinevere really ensures that we enter every community, every group, every relationship and partnership with true intentions, with true communication, with true words, right? So focusing on telling the truth, communicating the truth. I'm also hearing that might be a focus of inherited trauma, is that from this specific lineage, a lot of fibs, possible lies, mistruths communicated or told, maybe not on purpose, but again, in order to try to find the group or the community that thinks and believes what you do, there may have been mistruths communicated. And if you feel that way entering 2022 yourself, you can call on Guinevere to help you with true intentions, right? To enter a new group, or to ask that a new group or person or people, friend, lover, or otherwise, enter your world. In the past, Guinevere was known as White One or White Phantom. So if you've been having any images like of a white figure, angelic looking figure, I think that is another message coming through for this group from your ancestors, from a particular lineage, if you resonate, to give you messages. White flowers. I was going to say something about that earlier, but I didn't really know the connection, and now I'm realizing that is another possible image that may be coming through for you. So if you're having a thought, a belief, if you're ruminating on something or working through something and you suddenly walk past a bunch of white flowers, or an image of white flowers comes up in some form of medium to you, that is likely your ancestors from this lineage trying to contact you about something, trying to send you guidance, trying to send you love, and to remind you to look through things with the lens of love. Yes, even you, King of Swords, from this all-empowered throne that you sit upon. So the self-care that your ancestors in pile 3 are asking you to focus on for the year of 2022 is abundance planning. So really taking some of that, the qualities of the King of Swords, and getting all that mental chatter down on a piece of paper, maybe in a journal. You know, this card tends to be more focused on like financial planning, but I'm hearing more like community planning and idea planning, right? Coming from the King of Swords as the singular focused person, now wanting to branch out and to be more community minded. And what would that abundance look like to you? How would you like to plan for that? How would you like to call that into your life? How can you more confidently stand in your knowing, in your truth and message and communication without the need to take it over completely, to dominate completely? So abundance planning, I'm hearing like sharing, planning. Also going back to inherited gifts here, I wanted to say that I feel like inherited gift for this group number 3, the clear quartz, is communicator. So possible podcasters, journalists, bloggers, newscasters. Maybe you do an Instagram live. But something strong about the gift of this pile is your gift of communication, your way with words, your ability, when you can tap into it, to stand firm in your knowing, but also change your mind when you learn something new, right? So how can you plan to bring that abundance in for 2022? I'm hearing that this group likes to make lists, likes to get that, again, mental chatter, those ideas down. And maybe it's not even abundance planning if that resonates for you. I'm also hearing like getting your ideas clear out and set and down on paper in order to actually produce something, move through just the place where it's stuck up here into a place where it can actualize into a physical thing. Okay. And the animal oracle for group 3, you received the fox. We've been talking about adaptability a lot. Adapt to the changes that are happening. So keeping an eye out for the fox symbolism, right? And again, going back to that idea that a strong, well-balanced, confident King of Swords is adaptable. They're not so unwavering. It's good to be unwavering with the things that we truly believe, our morals and our standards. But how about when we learn something new? How about when there is a new piece of information? Are we able to change and adapt that into our new way of thinking and move forward? Right? Heavy air energy, heavy swords energy, heavy, in particular, Gemini energy can be very stubborn. But, you know, the message from your ancestors are that 2022 is going to bring a lot of change for you. And moving forward, flowing with that change will likely be much more beneficial for you than trying to fight against it, right? Seeing if there's anything else coming up for the fox. Oh. Wrong book. Yeah, so flexibility, cunning, right? But not manipulative. It's a fine balance. Let the bird balance you out. Again, symbolism for this year to look to as a way that your ancestors are trying to communicate with you. Like a white, angelic figure and image, white flowers, the black crow or raven here, and the fox, which really helps us to remember that we are adaptable. When we learn a new piece of information, we can move forward. Getting all of these ideas, I know you got a lot of ideas, pile 3, down on a piece of paper to actually make things flow and move forward for the 2022 year ahead. Okay, I think that's it for you, pile 3. I would love to hear if the pile that you chose resonated. If you picked multiple piles, all 3, you know, that's fine too. Please comment below if you enjoyed this video. I would so appreciate a like and subscribe if you feel called to. And yes, may we all be blessed and balanced in the year ahead. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.